The next part that we're going to discuss is community news. So if you have anything that you would like to share, go ahead, please put that in the chat. Usually we take a little bit of time. Gary might have a few things. I do want to say one thing. We actually just launched a 12-week course for Fix Your Finances 2020. So if you know somebody, a friend, family, or anyone, or anybody that you kind of have come in contact with that wants to just kind of not necessarily fix their finances, but get really educational about what's going, or knowledgeable about what's going on, it's a little bit like the Dave Ramsey course, but it's free and it's via Zoom. It's every Monday from 7 to 8. So I'll put that information in the chat button. That's what we have going on. Gary, do you have anything else?
Thanks, Tabitha. The only thing I might add, and Bobby recently listened to one of the webinars or meetings that the SBDC has been hosting a number of gatherings. They've got one today at 3. I think is supposed to tell about local businesses and what they're doing to handle the pandemic and the impact on their businesses. So I'd encourage you, if you're not aware of those, go to the SBDC Mankato website. I'm sure there's a listing and links to those webinars that they're facilitating.
All right, and then I'm going to turn it over to Yvonne for our next part.
Sure. Oh, and I have one little piece of news. Big Ideas Challenge yesterday. Thank you to all of you that tuned in. For our very first time doing it, it felt really great. The finalists were super psyched when they saw 225 people that were online watching. It was amazing. Overwhelmed the system a little bit, but it was still really cool. It was really nice to see all the community people that came out, and a lot of 1 Million Cups folks. I don't know if you heard, but I gave a little plug for 1 Million Cups during my talk. That was fun. So, I thought about the dice roll and how we can't give away the mug, but we can. And here's how we can do it. I will switch screens, and I found a random dice roller online. So I put it, and it can have as many sides as we want. So there's 14 of us here today. I don't need a mug, so I set it to 13, and I can roll the dice. And this is a 13-sided dice. So it'll just pick a number from 1 to 13, and that will be the person who wins our coveted 1 Million Cups mug. I don't have one to show off, but you can see a picture here. So I'm going to roll the dice. Oops. I want to roll 1 dice. There we go. So number 5. So the 5th person in alphabetical order by first name would win the dice. So let's see, Angel and Amber would be 1 and 2. Who's next? Bobby and Becky would be 3 and 4. So who would be 5? Don, I think. Don Lips, I think you'd be number 5 and our winner. You'd be the 5th one alphabetically by first name, yeah? Yay, Don, all right. I had to come up with a way to do that because I love the dice roll. So now we're on to our second half of the meeting, community sharing and discussion. Instead of clicking on raise hand, because that's kind of hard to find sometimes, you can just write in chat if you would like to share. Personally, I'd like to hear Angel's viewpoint on how COVID has impacted her business or hasn't, what's happened with her clients in terms of COVID. And then we could, kind of just go around the room and everybody could share kind of what's going on with them. What are they finding that's working? What isn't working? And maybe we can share some ideas and helpful things that we've experienced with each other. So that was the idea for today. And I've got a couple of questions here I posted on the screen just to get you thinking. So how's your business adapting? What's working? And what can the community do to help you through the pandemic situation?
Sure. You want me to go first?
Yeah, why don't you start first, and then I'll give everybody a chance to kind of germinate their own ideas.
Sure. Okay, so it's been challenging. Most of our customers are pretty understanding because we've had to shut down like our walk-in. Most people just stop in and kind of hang out for a little bit, especially our car guys. They like to come in and be in the shop and look at what we're doing. And we've had to shut some of that down. I think our biggest challenge has honestly been with the other upholstery shops who are not shutting down, because we've had a few customers get very angry with us because we're trying to, we're very limited with the contact that we will have with people, because we have 3 people in our family who are in that higher risk category. We had one person try to come to our Mankato location, and he said, well, why aren't you open? And I said, well, I mean, number one, I didn't realize that anybody was going to be stopping in. And number two, we're not an essential business in Minnesota. And he's like, well, the other upholstery shops, they're all open and they're doing business, so we'll just go with them. And, I'm okay. I mean, there's not a lot I can say to that, other than just trying to be tactful and nice to them. So right now, that's actually been one of our biggest challenges, is the other businesses who aren't following what they're supposed to be following. And I realize that people are just trying to keep themselves going. They're trying to make sure their bills are paid. I get it. But for the most part, our customers have been pretty understanding. And quite frankly, we are able to, so before the whole, non-essential business, whatever happened, we actually went to all of our customers, because we're booked out a couple months normally. And so we went to all of our customers and we said, hey, can we get your projects ahead of time, so that we could make sure to get everything done if we're not able to travel. So we actually went out when everyone else was out buying up toilet paper. We were out picking up boats and cars, and we just lined our driveway with all of our work. So for the next 2 months, all of our work is actually already here. And anybody who comes in now or calls and wants work done, we're putting them on a wait list for now, because there's not a whole lot we can do. But any suggestions that you guys would have as to how to kind of keep things going too, I mean, I'm open to that. But yeah, it's been difficult.
Thanks, Angel. I've heard that from other people too, that idea of, kind of gathering up a bunch of business from people early has kind of been sustaining them for a few weeks. But obviously if it goes too long, then you run out of all that work too. So other things that people are experiencing, it doesn't have to be a solution, just kind of what's happening, so we can kind of get a pulse for how people's businesses are doing right now. I talked to Jenna at Bumbaloo, and she said her sales were down 80% for her children's clothing and stuff. She has a retail store in Mankato, and then she just opened up in New Ulm. And so she's down 80%. And she's been sewing face masks in the back where she's got her sewing machines, and she's doing it by herself. So she's back there cutting out and sewing face masks by the hundreds. And once a week, she has seamstresses come and pull up outside of her place and roll down their back window, and she tosses kits in their back seat, and then the seamstresses take them home and sew them. And then they donate them to nursing homes and places like that need the extra cloth face masks. That's one of the ways that she's trying to kind of keep going. I thought that was a sort of inspiring story. It's really neat what she's doing. So others, you can pop into chat, or you can just go ahead and unmute yourself.
I'm guessing most don't want to confess the hardship very easily. This is Mankato after all, but
Right.
I know we're at about 50% of revenue as where we were last year. And in marketing, most companies are, it's the easiest expense to cut. It's the most fluid. It's the thing that you can get rid of now and bring back in a couple months when you have money coming in. So we've seen some struggles with that. We've been trying to diversify, mostly just by either donating some time because we want to support the local community yet, or trying to come up with trade options, which is not usually something that we as business owners talk about openly, I feel like, but is really an opportunity to get back to that trading opportunity, or just delayed payments for when, depending on the company, those who are closed completely can't do much, but they'll be able to be just fine once. You talk about salons, and right now they're completely closed and there's not a lot they can do, but in 3 months they're going to have a major backlog. I know, I can't wait for Indulge to open. I will probably be the first one on their steps. So just trying to diversify that way and help where we can, and take part in community business, unity right now.
Are people having any luck with pre-selling, for example, gift cards, coupons, pre-selling services that you will deliver later? Oh, there's the kids. Hi, guys. Like I said before, you should be really proud of your mom and dad. I was being the grandma with the kids last time. So has anybody having experience with that? Or have you heard of anybody having good experiences with like pre-selling gift cards? Like, for example, if you own a salon, it would seem like you could pre-sell, haircuts and services, ahead of time, and get that revenue in, and then people could give it as a gift, or they can, hold on to it for when they can get back to their hairdresser. You can unmute.
Not personally, but I see the Wow Zone doing something right now that they've been doing 20% off gift cards, and it's kind of save now and play later. I thought that was pretty creative.
That's a good one, yeah.
I know I purchased a business or a gift certificate for $100 through Charlie's, and then they did $60 in free if you buy 100, which was really interesting. So when I picked it up, Pierre was very, very smart in regards to the 60 that you get free. It's $15 every quarter. So it continues you to come through. And but I also know that working with some of the businesses that I have in the past, one of the biggest concerns that I've heard from the community is, do we buy it because will they be open when this is over? Sure. So I'm curious to, hear maybe some feedback about that, because my heart aches for so many of my restaurant business owners, my nail ladies. Doing my own nails, by the way, no, never. I mean, they look like crap, but you can't tell from here. But they're going to be bombarded. But how many of them will survive to get back? That's one of the biggest questions I hear on a daily basis. So feedback.
There's a Wall Street Journal article this morning about small businesses, going under, declaring bankruptcy and stuff. Because the help and stuff just isn't enough. They're just not cash. They don't have enough of a cash reserve to get them through, this long without any cash coming in.
Well,
things are going to change. Go ahead, Bobby.
I'm a witness to in the restaurant industry, Tabitha. You're 100% correct. It's my favorite restaurant that is not family owned, but my favorite one that I hang out with and eat at on a regular basis when I'm in the metro, announced last week that they're closed forever. And that, boy, that really puts a damper on it when you can't meet your monthly income requirements to pay whatever you have to pay. And boy, I tell you, it's going to be tough. Tabitha, you nailed it. It's going to be a long haul. And I don't know any of the solutions there. What Charlie's is doing is a genius idea. Pierre, hats off to him. But boy, I tell you, that's only going to last for your customer base. And that's going to, kind of fade away too. So good luck in that area, in the restaurant area for sure. And that's a big area. I mean, we had 2.5 million people all of a sudden in one day out of work. So that's a big chunk.
My husband and I found a thing yesterday that I thought was a good idea. One of the restaurants in town, we've been trying to order out a couple nights a week and get something from different places. And we found one where you go to their website and you order one meal hot, the other meal cold. It comes for free. So it was like $12 per meal, but you got a second version cold. So you could get, something so you could basically got 2 meals for $12.99. And they had it all packaged up. So just went right in your refrigerator with instructions on top on how to heat it up later.
And I saw that Mike Kahn is on now. Do you by any chance have any updates in regards to some of the money that is supposed to be out there for the business owners?
Yeah, I'm getting some feedback. I hope everybody else is, there we go. We heard this week that basically the SBA program, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, that businesses have started to receive money starting this week. There was some confusion initially as far as the forgivable portion of that loan. A lot of people thought it was just going to be $10,000, boom, then they would get that. A situation that they ran into that was $1,000 per employee on that forgivable aspect. So that was based on number of employees. The PPP program, the payroll protection program, is it's working. I would say that sole props and contractors, some of the regulations on that is still being tweaked by SBA, but we're starting to see some movement of money right away, and we've been told that that will be coming through as well. There's the biggest issue right now, and I think that everybody's kind of sensing this, is that nobody knows when this is going to end. And I'm sure that you guys talked a little bit earlier, but I envision what I'm hearing from other experts is that this is going to be somewhat of a gradual reopening. And even the Federal Reserve chair from the Minneapolis Bank, Federal Reserve Bank, said yesterday that large groups such as sporting events, concerts, things like that, it might be some time until we get some type of a vaccine in place before those things come back full time. I will turn the mic back over to Yvonne.
That's good. Let's see, there's George had some notes. George, did you want to share any of that with folks? You can go ahead and unmute yourself if you want. And Julie.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
George.
I'm
Yep.
Sorry. I'm still trying to figure out this Zoom thing. So.
Oh, so are we all.
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know that during this time before this coronavirus stuff hit, WITSEF meant nothing. We just recently rebranded to just WITSEF. So, of course, now that the rebrand came out during this time, we've been trying to get that out there to everybody. Also during this time, we right before the stay-at-home order, we had opened up our Mankato office, a temporary space right across from number 4 there in the Landcamer building. And so we started there about a month before the stay-at-home order. So after a month we opened, then we had to just close the door for a while until this stay is lifted. So as soon as Bridge Plaza is done, then we will be over there. And as you guys can see, you guys, they're still working, so that's good. And throughout all our other offices, we've got 9 throughout. We have 8 in Minnesota, and we have 1 in North Dakota. And everybody's still working. We're working remotely. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but as far as other construction projects that we designed, they're still scheduled to go this summer, so we're happy about that. All meetings and everything have been through Skype, and now we are trying Zoom right now. So it's been a little challenging, but it's been working for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Angel mentioned in chat an incentive program for new customers. I'm really curious about, sort of creative ideas. One of the things that's wonderful about entrepreneurs, and I said this to the finalist students, because I've had a couple of the finalists that were starting up for Big Ideas Challenge kind of come to me and say, well, is this the right time to start a business? When all this stuff is going on. And I said, it's the perfect time. If you can figure out creative ways to deliver your services and to communicate to people. Times like this is when entrepreneurs shine, right? When we're the kinds of folks who come up with new solutions to things, think of creative ways to adapt. You know, imagining that this is, you know, kind of the way things are going to be for a while. How can you pivot? You know, how can you change your business? Like Jenna, the example I gave from Bumbaloo, you know, pivoting to making masks. She's got sewing machines, she's got sewing skills, she knows how to cut stuff out. She sees a need and she fills it. Where normally she'd be making, you know, children's clothing. So what kinds of pivots, you know, are we seeing happening? What kinds of pivots can we help in terms of how can we as a community help people pivot too, you know, help them find things that they can change their business to do, identifying needs. Are there needs out there that we know about that maybe we need to communicate to some of our, you know, new businesses?
Yvonne, this is Gary. You bring up an interesting point there, particularly in talking with Angel and your capabilities, Angel, that we continually hear, given that the United States had gotten into relying on China for a lot of the PPEs, that perhaps you've already looked at this with your sewing ability. We talk about protective gowns and so forth, and with your sewing ability and your, I'm sure, laser cutouts, whatever, how you cut the material out, is that any area that there might be an opportunity to help fill a gap that we still haven't seen the peak here in Minnesota of getting materials such as that, whether it's the mask or, you know, protective gowns?
Yes. So one thing that our shop has done, and I posted a little story about this on our Facebook too, we've donated tons of elastic because we were able, not only did we have our own supply of elastic, but we were actually able to reach out to some of our wholesale vendors and get elastic when other people couldn't. So I don't know so much about in the Mankato area. I did see the thing about Bumbaloo, but up here we have several different groups of women, and I'm sure there's men in there too, but people who are sewing the masks. And the one thing they can't get is the elastic. They're able to get all this other type of material, and we're also able to get a lot of that material as well. So we've kind of put it out there on all of our local community pages. Like, if you guys need something, please reach out to us. And we've so far been able to donate 100% of what people have been asking for. And mainly it's elastic. We've also gone to several of our vendors and just gotten on all of their wait lists, because now, of course, all the elastic to make those masks are gone. So we have orders in, and we're supplying about 5 different groups right now of people who are sewing masks and gowns with the tiebacks and the elastic portion of it.
Great, Angel. Good work. Thank you.
One thing I heard of that I thought was kind of neat was sharing of Wi-Fi. You know, you think about what are the scarcities out there. You know, we as entrepreneurs, you know, we see scarcities, we fill them, right? What are the scarcities that are out there? And then, you know, how can we creatively fill them? One of the things I was hearing is that there are families in the communities that can't afford their internet, or they don't have fast enough internet. Their kids need to be able to access school. You know, they need to be able to get online, but they don't have good internet access in their home. So the university, for example, has parking lots now set up with open Wi-Fi. So you can go to, I think it's 2 parking lots on campus, and you can sit there in your car, so you're socially distanced from other people, and you can work in your car and get online. And businesses could do the same thing. You know, you could have Wi-Fi out in your parking lot at a Culver's or something, and people could order food and have somebody run it out to the car, you know, or have a little pickup spot where they can come pick it up. You can sit out in the car and be on Wi-Fi and share the Wi-Fi. So anyway, that's kind of thing that I think is sort of neat, is something that isn't costing the business a lot to provide, and yet it could really help a lot of people and be great for their public relations too. I think that's the key, is like thinking about what sorts of scarcities we can fill with things that don't, you know, cripple our businesses too when we're all trying to go along. I don't know if you guys all know, in addition to working at the university, I own a business called Internet Connections. We do website programming, we do hosting, that sort of thing. So far, our business hasn't been severely impacted because we all can work from home and our customers all need their websites. So they're continuing to keep those going. But as businesses suffer and they decide not to keep their websites, that could harm us too, in the long term. So we're contracting. We're probably going to get rid of our physical office space and just go to just being virtual permanently because of this. That's one of the changes we're making to cut our costs, which I don't like doing because we love our building and the people who run it and stuff, and I don't want to harm them. But $1,700 a month will go a long way toward helping to cover my employees' expenses of working from home. So that's kind of where I'm at in terms of my physical space. So it's about 9:30. So I'll wrap up the discussion, hand it back to Tabitha to close out the day.
All right, thank you everyone. So make sure you guys go on Facebook, get next week's, we'll be back here. We've got Mankato Life that's presenting. And so encourage all the business owners that you know, entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs, to make sure that they come and they have a great supportive environment with all of us. We really are here for each other. It's critical more than ever to have a sphere of influence or a person, a group of people that really are like-minded and are willing to help. And so please spread the word for that, and we'll see y'all back next week for our 8:30 in the morning 1 Million Cups. Bye, y'all.